Hello guys, you now find me on the Himalayan 452. This is based on the same engine as the Guerrilla 450. However, it is a lot more heavier, a lot more bulkier, owing to which I think there should be some sort of compromise in the performance sector. Look wise, I think this is leaps ahead of the older Himalayan 411. This is a test ride vehicle by Aryaveer Faridabad, the official dealership for Royal Enfield. It's not in a very good condition. I'm so sorry guys. You should start to maintain your test ride vehicles. It gives a good impression on people like me and the audience. So yeah, look wise this bike is leaps ahead of the older 411. It's a lot more wider, a lot more taller and a lot more longer. The tire profile is also a lot better than the old Himalayan. It's got the usual indicator to the brake light setup. The bike has, I think, what do you call this, a pannier, a top box holder. Exhaust exactly same as the Guerrilla 450. These side crash guards are from factory and they look quite well. I believe this visor is the longer visor from the stock. The stock gets a shorter visor, I think. The bike is quite handsome and quite aggressive to look at, to be honest. So you check out how bulky and how wide the tank is. It's got beautifully carved out section for your knees. It's a bit too bulky for my liking, to be honest. The tank, it could have been of the same shape but a bit thinner from up here. Switch gear exactly same as the Guerrilla, same plastic one. I am a fan of the metal switch gear from RE, which is there in the 650cc lineup. Downpipe again the same titanium-esque finish. All right, let's get to the ergonomics. From this angle, the bike is huge. It's way more humongous than the Guerrilla 450. Alright, let's get on the bike. Abhi, there's a eat or a patthar below the bike, so we'll sort that first. So yeah, the stand is I think the bike leans a bit more with the stand. Stand, the lean angle is a bit excessive. Not sure why. Alright, let's get on the bike. I'm 5'7" and I'm able to flat foot this bike from both of my feet. I think I'm just a tad bit longer than 5'7". Yeah, ergonomics. I would have appreciated if the handlebars are a bit more upright. I'm a bit forward biased in terms of my current position. Although it's not too bad, it's nothing that it will create an issue or it's not worthy for a complaint. Okay, yeah, this is definitely the longer visor from RE. Foot pegs, again, they come in the very natural place, just like the Guerrilla. Alright, let's start her up and see how she sounds. Sounds a bit different and a bit more throatier than the Guerrilla. Actually, this bike has run almost 5k and the Guerrilla was around 2k. So yeah, I think because of the fairings there is some sort of vibration in this bike which was missing in the Guerrilla. First gear, yeah, the gearbox is also a little less snappy, although it is the same 6-speed system which was there in the Guerrilla. Performance wise this bike is more or less a Guerrilla 450, but because of the added weight and the added aesthetics and overall parts, it should behave a bit differently. Let's get riding. All right. So the gearbox travel is a bit excessive in this bike, and one thing is very much noticeable, and that is the sluggishness of this machine. the Guerrilla 450 was noticeably quicker than the Himalayan, which I'm riding right now. I immediately am able to feel that. I am immediately able to feel that difference in power and performance. I think this has to do with the weight. Oi, 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 340i. I don't feel like pushing this bike a lot. I think this is the same case with the GT versus Super Meteor. What that case was, whenever I ride a GT 650, I am in a mood to always keep my right wrist open. I mean, I'm always in the mood to push the bike to its limits. However, in this bike, I don't feel like doing that. Oh my god, look at this guy's tire. And this is the absolute worst place to test ride this bike, because where she shines is off the road. This is not this bike's home. The bike should stand true to its name. See, there is no pull on this bike. However, the characteristics of these machines are completely different. When I say completely different, I actually mean them by all of my gut and glory. So if I was to cruise at 80, let's say I'm going to Manali or Leh, I have to cruise at 80. Comfy, but 80 feels a bit slower on this bike. I think it's because of the size of it. Like the same case with SUVs and like heavier cars. Let's say a Ford EcoSport, it's a heavy car. Okay guys, don't come at me. Let's say a Ford EcoSport, I'm cruising at 80. Whereas in a Swift, if I cruise at 80, I'll feel a bit scared and a bit faster. I think the same case with the bike. Also, the wind deviation is a bit more in this bike, like the bike is cutting through wind. 80 feels a bit slow. Let's try 90 for a cruising speed. 90 again the same. I think this is the sweet spot for this bike. The vibrations are a little less than the Guerrilla in my handlebars. However, where the vibration is coming from is the front fascia. I think there is some loose bolt or there is something in the bike which is creating some sort of vibration. Above 100, it's vibrations. It is definitely vibrating more than the Guerrilla, which should not be the case because the bike has actually settled down. The running in period, the bike is actually ran down. See folks, this is the case. Where the Guerrilla shines, the Himalayan lacks, and where the Himalayan shines, the Guerrilla lacks. The bikes are, both of these machines are for a very different purpose. These are purpose-built machines, so to speak. So, if I am given an option to choose between the Himalayan or the Guerrilla, I think this is a really difficult question for me. I would love to own both of these machines in my garage one day because the Guerrilla is best. I think it is the best bike for city riding. The bike that comes closest to the Guerrilla is, I think, the Triumph Speed 400 or the Scrambler 400. Apart from that, this can be my getaway motorcycle. I'm not very confident if I'll be able to tour on the Guerrilla 450 or even off-road on the Guerrilla 450. However, in this bike, like I've ridden this bike in Manali also. So yeah, I can confidently see that this bike is absolutely best for off-roading. Let's do a 0 to 100 test. Braking wise, when I apply the front brake on my bike, when I apply the front brake on this bike, the first thing that happens is a nosedive before the brake.
Finish him!
That is a tasty looking VRS. One word verdict. I mean, not exactly one word. This is a purpose built machine. It's not for everybody.